The purpose of this movie is to help you fill out the FAA Form 8610 if you are a military parachute rigger and you wish to apply for your FAA Senior Parachute Rigger certificate. This is for an original issuance of that certificate, and we'll assume that you're applying for a back type rating. So I'll start by simply typing in 8610 to a Google search and we'll see what we get. There it is. There's the form, so we'll just go ahead and open that. The first few pages of the form are simply the Privacy Act information, and you can have a look at that on your own time, and I'll just get this a little bigger so we can see it. There we go. If you take a look at the left side of the form, you'll see it has repairman, mechanic, airframe, power plant. We're not interested in any of that. Moving over slightly to the right side here, we're going to be going for parachute rigger, so we'll put an X in that box. The grade of certificate you wish to receive is senior, so we'll put an X in that one. And the rating you wish to hold is a back. Moving over to the left side of the form, let's get that a little better, there we go. We'll see that this says application for. As we've already said, this is an original issuance. In the name box, go ahead and put your first, middle, and last name. So here we go, Simon. I do not have a middle name, so I put NMN, means no middle name, and then my last name, Wade. If you have a senior, junior, second, or third, or whatever, that comes next. If your name is initials only, for instance, if my name was BJ Wade, I would write capital B, capital J, and then in parentheses I would put initials only Wade. Moving down in the Social Security line, let's wait for its cycle, you type the words do not use. The FAA don't want to know it. The date of birth will be written as an 8-digit format. In fact, all dates on this form will. Doesn't matter what prompts on the form are, if they're incorrect, I guarantee it needs to be a 2-digit month, 2-digit day, and 4-digit year. If you do it any other way, your form will get kicked back to you. So I'm just going to make up a date of birth for myself here. There we go. In height, it should be in whole inches. So if I was 6 foot tall, I'd be 72 inches. Weight should be in whole pounds. There we go. For hair color, the colors that the FAA will accept are brown, black, blonde, gray, and red. Also, if you are bald, you can just write bald. I'm in the habit of dyeing my hair purple, but I have to put my natural hair color in here, which is brown. For eye color, the acceptable colors are brown, black, blue, hazel, gray, and green. I'll go ahead and write brown. For sex, you can abbreviate to either M or F. In nationality, the most commonly seen nationality we're going to come across is USA. You've probably noticed I have a bit of an accent, so for me it will be UK. If you were Canadian, you would write Canada. If you were French, you would write France. If you were Australian, you would write Australia. I think you probably get the idea. For place of birth, most normally this will be expressed as a city and a state. For a foreigner like myself, it will be a city and a country. I'll make this up. Limpstone, England. There we go. Moving up to permanent mailing address. The FAA want a permanent mailing address, even though it says P.O. Box up there. So let's go with 709 Waiaka Street, Unit B, then the city, and outside of the normal format here you put the state below the city, and you can use standard postal abbreviations here, so we'll put MV for Nevada and the zip. There we go. Moving back across to the left side of the form, you'll see in section L it says, have you ever had an airman certificate suspended or revoked? I'm going to go with no, but if the answer to that is yes, you will need to notify your Flight Standards District Office, and if it was more than a year ago it won't be a problem, but if it's within a year they may deny you this application, so you want to check with them first. In section M, do you now or have you ever held an FAA Airman certificate? You would put whatever is appropriate in there, for instance, private pilot, mechanic, repairman, air traffic controller, etc. In my case, I'll put yes, as I'm a tandem instructor and I have a Class 3 medical, which is considered a student pilot's license. Student pilot, I should say certificate. There we go. Moving down, section N, have you ever been convicted for violation of any federal or state statute permanent to narcotic drugs, marijuana, and depressant or stimulant drugs or substances? Again, if the answer is yes, indicate so and put the date of final conviction. If it was more than a year ago, it's not a problem. If it was less than a year ago, you may not be eligible to test, so check with the FAA. I'll go ahead and say no. You will be claiming military experience for this application, so let's put an X in that box. And then the next area you fill out is where it says military competence obtained in, and now I apologize as this is absolute lies. I'll say I was in the Army. I'll say my rank or pay grade was Sergeant, E5. Oh, question mark 5. E5. And I'll say that my military spec code for it is 92 Romeo. There we go. For an application for senior parachute rigger, you do not have to fill out any of this area. The only thing you'll have to indicate is how many parachutes you've packed by their type. In seat, I'll put an X. I'll say I've packed none. In chest, I'll put an X. I'll say I've packed none. In back, I'll say I've packed 20. That is the minimum amount for a senior parachute rigger application. And in lap, I'll say I've signed none. Scroll down just a little more. We're now into the applicant's signature block. Let's just slide that over a bit. There we go. Applicant certification. Sometimes this form will allow me to type a date in there. Sometimes it's a little capricious and it won't, so I'll give it a try right now. And the date that needs to be in here is the date that you're sat in front of your FAA inspector. So make sure you put the correct date in there. And again, it will be 8 digits. 03/03/2013. So that's the last entry I can make on the front side of this form in the computerized format. What I'll do now is scroll to the next page. Just go back so you can see it. There we go. And on this page, the next thing I'm going to do is indicate what kind of government-issued photo ID I'm using to identify myself. Most commonly, that's a state driver's license, so I'll go with NV for Nevada, DL, and the number, which I'll now make up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'll put the expiration date. Your ID does have to be in date. If you're a foreign national, I recommend you use your passport for this area. Next thing you want to put on here is a phone number. And then email if you have it. You should now review the form for any obvious errors and print it out. I've already gone ahead and done that, so let me just drop the screen and I'll show you the last few things we have to do by hand. Let's see if I can get a little bit better color on it. There we go. You'll notice at the top of the form where it says Repairman, Mechanic, Airframe and Power Plant, I've struck a line through it. Anywhere that you are manually writing on this form, and it is okay to fill it out by hand, make sure you use black or blue ink. Again, anything else, your application will be rejected, so don't fight them, just do it their way. On the other side of the form, I have struck a line through the word seat, master, chest and lap. Moving down to the bottom, in the applicant certification section, section 4, I have printed my name. Hopefully in your case you can just put your middle initial, but I don't have one, so I have to indicate that I didn't forget it by putting NMN. And I've also filled out the same date as I'm going to be checked out on in the inspector's area, just to save them a moment. When your inspector fills this out, the inspector should print their name, including their middle initial if they have one. And then you can both sign in each other's presence. Please again make sure you do it in blue or black ink. And your inspector can fill out the FAA District Office code. Very often they want you just to bring one form in so that they can review one, and when they're completely happy they can shoot machine copies of this and sign them afterwards. It does have to be original ink. Often the inspector will put their initials next to the ID to indicate that they checked it. You'll notice this form is printed on two sides. If you are not capable of doing that and you end up with the back printed on a separate side, in addition to the other information, you will also need to put your full name and your date of birth so that they can make sure that the front and the back of the form match. Alright, well I've no doubt there's probably a couple of errors somewhere in what I've said. Feel free to contact me with that so I can update this. Send me an email to the email address you see on your screen. And wherever you're doing your test, good luck to you.